Hello everyone. So in this particular video, we will be doing a quick revision of ethics. So when it comes to questions from the sections of the Chartered Accountants Act, mainly we see questions from two sections. One section 2.2, which is regarding members who are deemed to be in practice. 2.2.4 says if they renders other services. And the term other services includes management consultancy and other services. And the Council of ICAR has issued a list regarding what all is included under management consultancy and other services. Right? And second, section 27, which is regarding the maintenance of branch offices, which says that each branch office of a member should be under the separate charge of a member of the institute. Okay. Right. And then if we come to the schedules to the Chartered Accountants Act, right, the two schedules to the Chartered Accountants Act, we have the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act and the second schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act. Right. Under the first schedule, we have four parts, part 1, 2, 3, 4. Second schedule, three parts, part 1, 2, 3. Right, part 1, first schedule is professional misconduct for CAs in practice. Yes, part 2, first schedule, professional misconduct for CAs in service. Part 3, first schedule, professional misconduct generally. And part 4, first schedule, other misconduct generally. Part 1, second schedule is professional misconduct again for CAs in practice. Part 2, second schedule is professional misconduct generally. And part 3, second schedule is regarding other misconduct generally. Right, and in total in these 7 parts we have the 34 clauses of ethics which have been given. Right. So one by one, let's quickly see what are the clauses over there, and then the ones which are important, we can go through them word by word. Okay. Right. So first one, clause 1, part 1, first schedule, practiced by non-CA. Then clause 2, part 1, first schedule, sharing. And not to share, pays or allows or agrees to pay or allow. Then 3, accepts. 2 says not to share. 3 says not to accept. 4, enters into partnership in or outside India. 5 is regarding canvassing. 6, very important one, the most important clause out of the 34 clauses of ethics, solicits. Right? Then 7, advertises his professional attainments. 8, NOC. Right? 9, section 139. 10, percentage contingent basis. 11, permission. And 12 is regarding signing. Then if you come to part 2 for schedule, there you have clause 1 and clause 2, not to share, not to accept for CAs and service. Then part 3 for schedule, falsely acts as an FCA, does not provide information to ICAI and gives false information under clause 6 and 7. Right, part 4, first schedule, imprisonment up to 6 months, and second one, bringing disrepute to the profession. Right, then coming to the second schedule, part 1. What does it say? Clause 1, breach of confidentiality for CAs in practice. Then certifies without examining the records. Then vouches for the accuracy of forecast. Expresses opinion where substantial interest is involved. Fails to disclose a material fact. Fails to report a material misstatement. Yes, are you all with me? Right, does not exercise due diligence or is grossly negligent, then fails to obtain sufficient information, fails to invite attention to departure from standards, and fails to keep monies in a separate banking account. Then clause 1, part 2, second schedule, contravenes, right, any of the provisions of the act. Then breach of confidentiality, CAs in service. Then 3 over there, false particulars to ICAI. 4, defalcates, embezzles money received in professional capacity, and imprisonment for more than 6 months. Okay, whenever in the exams there is a question on part 1 first schedule, how does your answer begin with? Say, as per clause 4 of part 1 of first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, a member of the institute in practice shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct if he. Then if it is second schedule, if it is part 2 first schedule, a member of the institute not in practice or a member of the institute in service shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct if he. Part 3, first schedule, a member of the institute, whether in practice or not, shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct if he. And Part 4, first schedule, a member of the institute, whether in practice or not, shall be deemed to be guilty of other misconduct if he. Right. Second schedule, part 1, how do you start it? A member of the institute in practice or a chartered accountant in practice shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct if he. Part 2, second schedule, a member of the institute, whether in practice or not, shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct if he. And Part 3, second schedule, a member of the institute, whether in practice or not, shall be deemed to be guilty of other misconduct if he. Right. Okay, so now then let's just have a quick look at the important ones in detail. So now I've just quickly revised them. So now the important ones, we'll see them little bit in detail. Like one very important one from which questions are asked in the exams is Clause 2, Part 1, First Schedule. What does it say? Clause 2, Part 1, First Schedule pays or allows or agrees to pay or allow directly or indirectly any share, commission or brokerage in the fees or profits of his professional business to any person other than member of the institute, partner, retired partner, legal representative of a deceased partner, member of any other professional body or specified qualified persons. Then clause 6, what is that? Most important one, solicits client or professional work directly or indirectly by CAPIB. What is CAPIB? Circular, advertisement, personal communication, interview, or by any other means, provided that nothing contained herein shall be construed as preventing or prohibiting a member from applying, requesting, inviting, securing professional work from another CA in practice, or responding to tenders or inquiries issued by various users of professional services from time to time and getting professional work as a consequence. Right? So misconduct solicits, and two exceptions, CA fraternity and responding to tenders or inquiries. Then clause 7, advertises his professional attainments or services or uses designation or expression other than that of CA on professional documents such as letterheads, signboards, visiting cards, unless it be a degree of university established by law in India, recognized by central government, title indicating membership of ICAI, or an institution whose membership has been recognized by the central government or the council, provided that a member in practice may advertise through a write-up subject to the guidelines issued by the council. Right. So number 18, RTP, there is a question. Okay, can a CA state on his professional documents that he is an insolvency professional? Can he say so on his professional documents that he is an insolvency professional? Yes, as it is permitted by central government or the councils. Mentioning that you are an insolvency professional on professional documents, is it allowed? Yes, it is allowed. So no guilty of professional misconduct. Then clause 8, accepts appointment as an auditor previously held by another chartered accountant without first communicating with him in writing. Then what is 10? Charges or offers to charge, accepts or offers to accept in respect of his professional employment any fees which are based on percentage of profits or which are contingent upon the results of his findings or of such employment, except as permitted under the regulations under the act. So what is 10.11? Percentage contingent basis fees, guilty of professional misconduct. What are the exceptions under the regulations of the Chartered Accountant Act? 8 exceptions: receiver, liquidator, auditor of a cooperative society, valuer for direct taxes and duties, certain management consultancy services, certain fundraising services, debt recovery services, cost optimization services, and any other kind of service or audit as may be decided by the council. Okay, right? Then 11, engages in any other business or occupation other than the profession of chartered accountancy unless permitted by the council so to engage. right? Provided that nothing contained herein shall disentitle a member from being a director unless he or his partners are interested in such a company as an auditor. Right, clause 2 part 1 first schedule, clause 2 part 2 first schedule is regarding excepts from the what you say from the CA lawyer agent broker customer of the employer, and accepts or agrees to accept any part of fees, profits or gains from CA lawyer agent broker customer by way of commission or gratification. That is clause 2 part 2 first schedule, right? Clause 2 part 2 first schedule. Then clause 2 part 3 first schedule does not supply the information called for or does not comply with the requirements asked for by ICAI and or its functionaries, right? Then very important one again, clause 2 part 4 first schedule, in the opinion of the council, brings disrepute to the profession or to the institute as a result of his action, whether or not related to his professional work, right? So bringing disrepute, no professional behavior, so that comes under clause 2 part 4 first schedule. Right, then clause 1 part 1 second schedule, breach of confidentiality. C is in practice discloses information acquired in the course of his professional engagement to any person other than his client, yes, unless required by law or taken prior consent of the client. Right, then clause 3 part 1 second schedule, if he permits his name to be used in connection with estimate of earnings contingent upon future transaction in a manner which may lead to the belief that he vouches for the accuracy of the forecast. Right? Then clause 4 is part 1 second schedule, expresses his opinion on the financial statements of any business or enterprise where he, his partner, his firm, relative is 18 as substantial interest. However, information system work is allowed. Right. Then clause 6 fails to, yes, clause 5 fails to disclose of material fact known to him, which is not disclosed, but disclosure of which is necessary in the financial statements where he is concerned with such financial statements in a professional capacity. So clause 5 says fails to disclose a material fact, and clause 6 says fails to report a material misstatement. Then clause 7 does not exercise due diligence or is grossly negligent in the conduct of his professional duties. Then clause 8 fails to obtain a sufficient information, is which is necessary for expression of opinion, or its exceptions are sufficiently material to negate the expression of an opinion. Right, and then clause 10, what does it say? Fails to keep monies belonging to his client other than fees or remuneration in a separate banking account, or to use such monies for the purposes intended by the client within a reasonable time. Right, then very important one over here, clause 1 part 2 second schedule, contravenes, and so any notifications, guidelines of ICAI not followed, it comes under 122. Right, contravenes any of the provisions of the act or the regulations made thereunder or the guidelines issued by the council. Right, so that is clause 1 part 2 second schedule. Okay, right, so that's just a quick revision of the important clauses of ethics. One more point, कि whenever a question on ethics is asked in your exams, how are you expected to write down the answer? Right, so ethics answer, how do you write it? Okay, so first you have to write down the clause saying as per, yes, whatever it is, say clause 8 of part 1 of first schedule, yes, to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, a member of the institute in practice, a chartered accountant in practice or a member of the institute in practice shall be deemed to be guilty, shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct if he right, shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct or fee, and then you write down the clause. So, like, if it is clause 6, part 1, first schedule, then you'll write down solicits, client or professional work directly or indirectly by circular, advertisement, personal communication, interview, or by any other means. Then, depending upon on what is the question asked, if it's on the first exception, you write down the first one. If it's on the second one, you write down the second. So, you have to write it as per the question. Then after that, after you've written the clause, you have to write down some justification and something which the council has said, or what is the purpose of ICAI behind issuing this clause, like why clause 6 has been introduced. So if you read the case study answers for clause 6, after the clause they've always written a sentence says that such a restraint has been put on the members of the profession so that they maintain their independence of judgment and may be able to command respect from their prospective clients. Or for 211, which is regarding pays or allows and a sharing by CAs in practice. Okay, can the legal representative of a deceased partner get a share in the profits of the firm? Yes, if it is mentioned in the partnership agreement and if the period is specified. So whatever related to that case, or whatever related to the council, what it has said, or why ICAI has issued this clause, something out of that you can write down in the second part of your ethics answer. So first you write down the clause, then you write down the justification. Now third, you correlate it to the case. Okay, in the given case, Mr. K, a CA in practice, has done this, has done that. Okay, and then finally at the end you give a conclusion, and therefore Mr. CAK is guilty of professional misconduct and liable for disciplinary action. And if the matter is related to the first schedule, then the matter goes to the board of discipline. And what are the actions which could be taken by the board of discipline? Reprimand the member, remove the name of the member up to a period of 3 months, or impose a fine of up to rupees 1 lakh. Right, so right, hence Mr. K is guilty of professional misconduct and liable for disciplinary action. The following actions can be taken by the board of discipline against Mr. K, and then you write down these 3 points. Say if the question is regarding first, or if it is regarding second schedule, or both, then the matter comes to the disciplinary committee. So again you write, hence CAK is guilty of professional misconduct and liable for disciplinary action, and the disciplinary committee can take the following actions against the CA. Yes, reprimand the member, remove the name of the member permanently or for any period, or impose a fine of up to rupees 5 lakh. You know that, no? If it is first schedule, board of discipline, reprimand up to 3 months, 1 lakh. And second schedule or both schedule, reprimand permanently or any period, or impose a fine of up to rupees 5 lakh. Right? Okay. So do you know that your ethics answer have to be divided under 4 parts? First part, you write down the clause. Second, you write down something regarding that particular clause, some justification or something which the council of ICAI has said. Then you correlate it to the case, and then you finally give a conclusion. Right, and it is undoubtedly a very confirmed fact, that ethics is a very, very scoring part in the CA final audit paper. Right, so I wish you all the very best, and keep studying, keep working hard, and yes, let me know your marks once your results are out. Okay, yes, thank you very much.